Have you ever wanted to build a website with security, styling, the database, and all the lists and forms done in under 2 hours? That's exactly what you and I are going to do today. And today, in this Learn with the Nerds event, I'm joined with Matt Peterson. Hey, Matt.
Hey, how you doing, Brian?
Good.
Glad to be here.
You want to introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm a trainer here at Pragmatic Works, deal with the Power Platform, and Power Pages is one of the pieces of the Power Platform. Former educator, so that's the beautiful thing about the Power Platform is that you don't have to have the dev experience. Like you said, we're going to create something in under 2 hours, and as a math teacher, I can do it too.
Awesome. And my name is Brian. I'm the founder of Pragmatic Works. I specialize in the Power Platform also. And today, we're going to walk you on a journey from creating the tables where we're going to store the data. We'll create a developer account to make sure you can do this in your environment, hopefully. We'll also go through installing some sample data. We'll build out the Wesho web page, the forms to enter the data, the views to see the data, and we're going to secure that data in about 2 hours or so. So we got a lot of work to do today, a lot of heavy lifting, and we'll be in the question panel answering questions throughout this session as well. We'll also have a live Q&A section after this as well. As Matt and I are speaking with you right now, we'll have a same room, live Q&A section after this to kind of get through any last minute questions we may have heard and also draw a few grand prizes. So let's begin. So Matt, why Power Pages at all in this case?
Yeah, because Power Page is part of the Power Platform and it's different from a Power application. But one of the cool things about a Power Page is you can have anonymous users log into that page. It's all about being a data-driven website. So the data that we're going to be collecting and storing in Dataverse, we're now going to be able to expose to users that might not necessarily be part of my company.
Awesome. Well, the good thing about that is our example today is just that. We're going to pretend to be a company who is putting all these requests for proposals on the website. So we'll have a list of all the projects that we want done, and then people will log into that website and bid on those projects. So we'll see lots of interesting stuff. We'll see file attachments, but there's also some other use cases for Power Pages also, and that's really a licensing vehicle. Let's imagine you're a university and you have 60,000 students. You don't want to license all 60,000 students for an app that they might use once every 2 years, 2 months, whatever it might be.
Right.
So in Power Pages, you're basically buying a pack of licenses and you don't have to name each user that's going to use one of those licenses. So as Matt mentioned, it could be anonymous users, or it can be students that are coming in to do a change of housing request once every 2 to 3 years, for example. So you can buy a lot less licenses than what you really need. For example, we have one company that's using it for their line workers to request appointments from HR. Look at the 401k assessment and those kind of things. Those are things you might do once every 2 years. So why buy all 50,000 people licenses in those instances? So that's our example today. We're going to work through step by step, starting with our data, building out the tables for storing our projects and our proposals, and we're going to build the web page around it. So Matt, should we get beginning?
Yeah, and the other thing I want to bring up is security.
Oh, that's right.
Security is a great thing because you're like, oh, all this data we're going to start to expose to other people. No, we're going to learn how we can secure that data. We only expose the data that we want them to see, what they can do with it. And it's maybe not the fun part of it.
It's the cool part.
It's the cool part of it.
Yeah.
So for sure.
So if you like that aspect of things, definitely hang in there. Matt, now to get started, we're going to need to have a few things ready for them to actually play along. And by the way, you can pause us. This is, of course, being recorded. You can always play us back later. And if you don't have, a lot of times we'll see people that don't have the security rights to do some of the stuff we're going to do here. You can always come back and watch us now and then play later also.
Yeah.
So what's needed to actually build this?
So we're going to need Dataverse capabilities. And so at your organization, you might have environments that already have that. But one of the great things is Microsoft gives us a free developer account environment. And that's usually the one that's going to be the least restrictive, give you the most things that you can do. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to get you signed up for a developer account here.
Cool. Can you walk me through this?
Yeah. So what we want to do, we're going to go to that third tab over here.
Okay, cool.
You can just search for Power Apps Developer Plan using Bing, Google, whatever your choice is.
We'll put it in the chat window also
we'll put
for
it in
you.
the chat.
Yeah.
And then once you're here, we're going to click on that Start Free button.
Okay.
And then from here, we're going to put in our school or work email address, and then we're going to put that check right next to it, and then we're just going to hit Start Free. Now, this is going to provision a new environment for you if you don't already have this one. And it's going to have basically all these great features that you can use for free.
Awesome.
And that's going to be a great learning place for us today. So it could take a few seconds or moments to get created, but we'll be good when we need to use it here.
Now this is free for you, and it's forever for free. It's not a trial environment. Now we keep on using that word environment, Matt. What is an environment in Power Platform?
Yeah, Environment Power Platform is a place where multiple users can go, or just one user, and it's where you go to collaborate and you go to create. So I kind of like to think of it as a big little department, and we want to put everyone in a department here to be working on their projects together. Now with that, we're going to be getting into solutions, which is how do we organize our work between one another.
So an environment essentially is just a department, as you mentioned, but you might have one for development, QA, and production in your company for small companies. And for large ones, you might have it divided by a department, dev, QA, and prod. But for the purpose of this example, we're just going to do dev. We'll just do one environment. We'll throw everything into it just to kind of play today. But it's going to contain, as Matt mentioned, a Dataverse database. And this database is basically a SQL Server database behind the scenes. It's going to enable us to do things like row-level security, all the forms, all the lists, all those kind of things are going to be built into the Dataverse database. However, because the theme of this is democratization of a technology, anybody can build a Dataverse database table.
Hallelujah.
If you have security rights, that is, yeah.
Yes.
So you don't need a DBA or a developer to do this. You as a project manager, as a DBA or developer or whomever can build these things out. So Matt, we've got our developer account created, and I noticed we have this word environment at the top right. I'm going to go ahead and select that. And I have an environment already created earlier I did with Learn with Nerds. So I'll go ahead and select that, but you'll pick the one that has your name on it or a dev environment of your choosing. One thing you cannot do is you cannot do your company's default environment. You'll tell it your company's default environment because it'll have the word, your company name in it, and likely default in parentheses. That's like the junk drawer for your company, and things like Dataverse administration and all that, it's usually turned off in that environment. So make sure you pick a new environment here. You can also use a trial environment. The developer environment's a great way to start though.
Great way to start.
All right, Matt, so we've got this now in place. We now want to see how to create these. I'm going to go over to make.powerpages.microsoft.com. There we go. So make.powerpages.microsoft.com. And we're going to want to do a few things now.
Yeah, we want to make our Power Page site here. Now, for those of you building, you could see something a little bit different from the screen that we have here. You might be seeing a little tutorial on your screen that says Get Started. And if you see that Get Started, hey, you're going to click on Get Started. It's going to ask you a question like, what type of industry are you with? You can tell them, or you can just hit skip in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Now, we've made Power Pages before, so we're not getting the tutorial here. So for those of you who don't see the Get Started, what we're going to do is we're going to click on Templates over on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to click on Templates.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yep. And there's also a start with a template as well.
And you're also seeing how bad my eyesight is. Yes.
And for those of you that went through the Get Started part, you're going to give them that answer or skip it, and then you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom, and then you're going to see a start with the template. Now, we went to templates first with. And what we want to do for this one is I like to use one of their starter layouts.
Sure.
And really you can pick whatever you want, but if you're going to try to make yours look similar to what Brian and I are making here, I recommend going with starter layout 1.
Okay.
And then we're just going to click on down there at choose this template.
Cool. Got it.
And so what the templates are great is it kind of gives you a nice shell of the Power Page that you're wanting to create. And they've got a whole bunch of templates. Feel free to explore them, obviously, after the video here. And then it's going to go through some basic stuff. You know, give your site a name. So
I'll call us Learn with the Nerds proposal system or something.
I like it.
All right, sounds good. Now, I'm going to leave this web address as is, just because I know everybody else, I want everybody copying me, and then we'll have some collisions there. So I'll leave mine as is. You can, of course, change that later, though, if you wish.
And then you're going to choose your site language. Obviously, we're going to go with English here today.
Okay. Now I'm waiting for our next button here to light up.
And then we might have to...
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes. And so now what's happening is it's provisioning our Power Page, and it's going to start telling us hopefully soon here, getting things ready, and then we'll be ready to start.
There it goes. Now it's checking. I'm waiting for this
Now
to
it's
check
checking.
to
There
happen.
we go.
Come on.
So this URL that we're checking here, it's got to be unique across the entire world. So that's why it's doing a little bit of a check.
And for
here.
some reason, on my case, I've noticed that that when I maximized this, the button was off the screen.
There it was.
So
it was hidden.
It looks like it's probably that. There we go. There it was. Now I got rid of the taskbar, and now it's showing up. So
Perfect.
For me, it's a little bit weird. So if you're having that same issue, you learn there are mistakes. So I'll hit the done button here. Okay. This is the part you were looking for that might take. This is going to take a little while, guys. Maybe as little as a couple minutes, as much as 10 minutes, maybe. So that's why we're doing this now. And we're going to do some other work and then come back to this work here as the time goes on.
Yeah, because that's really the thing. When you make a Power Page, you're going to have your data set up.
Right.
You're going to have to go make your Dataverse tables if they haven't already been created that you want to utilize. So that's why we want to do this now. And as this is getting ready, I think we're ready to go into getting our scenario set up. What do you think?
Well, I think you want some sample data also, you mentioned?
I do want some sample data. Now, the reason sample data is just beneficial is we can work with some sample contacts and accounts in here. Just really saves us time from creating this extra data. So in order to do that, let's head back on over into our Power Apps. And some of you might already have sample data to begin with. Do you want to show them how to just check so they don't go through the whole process?
Well, we'll actually check us in a second here.
There we go.
Yeah. So I'm at make.powerapps. I kept this tab open, and then I'm going to open up a new tab and go to make.powerapps.com. I'll make sure I'm in the right environment, as I am right now, and I'll hit the gear box and go to advanced settings here. So take a few seconds, and yours might look a little different. They're starting to roll out these new advanced areas now. Mm-hmm. This is the old advanced area.
Classic, yep.
But you might be seeing a slightly different view, but the clicks will be the same. Just yours will be, on the horizontal side versus mine is vertically here. So I'll hit the drop-down box here, and then Matt, where do I go now?
We're going to go over to Data Management underneath the System column.
Okay.
And then from here, over on the far right-hand side, we're going to click on Sample Data.
And this is where you can see if you have it installed or not. If it is installed, it'll say Remove Sample Data. And if it is not installed, it'll say Install Sample Data. This also takes about 5 minutes or so to do its thing. And again, just mental note, your screen might be vertical instead. So you might have these options on the left side, but it's exactly the same screens in the big scheme of things.
And then once you see that the initiation is being done, you can close out of this pop-up. You can close out of this tab. I hate having tons of tabs open.
I agree.
We're going to have a few tabs open today. So if you want to get rid of that tab, you are more than welcome. So now we just have our Power Apps tab and our Power Pages tab.
I'll go to Power Pages. We can see now that the site is still getting ready, but it's out of that spin mode now, and it's back to this. This is the same screen you saw a moment ago where it was like spinning and actually building our Power Page. So our next step, guys, is we want to go ahead and build what's called a solution. And our solution is going to contain all of our tables and our structure we need to basically move this later to production. It can also contain the actual website itself. It can contain any apps that we may want built, any kind of Power Automate flows. All that stuff can be in our solution. Solutions are a must do, and it's the number one mistake I see people make is they go outside the solution and make changes, and it messes them up every single time. So do yourself a favor on any Power Platform project that you have, say that 10 times faster, you want to start with solutions. So at make.powerpages.microsoft.com, I'm going to click on solutions on the left side finally. I'm back there again. And we'll see that it's already installed a few solutions as part of the whole Power Page setup there. So Matt, I'm going to go ahead and create a new solution here.
Yeah, and I just love solutions also just to be organized.
Yes, exactly.
I like to think of it as just like a nice little folder in my file explorer.
I'll call it, what do you think a good name is? Maybe Learn with the Nerds demo?
Yeah, I think that's
project,
a good one.
something like that, whatever. Now, there's this thing called a publisher also. Now, a publisher is going to do a few things for you. It's going to say who's responsible for this solution, and it's going to put a prefix on every object that you create with this publisher's prefix. Why is that important? Well, Matt, if we go to Power BI, for example, we can find our tables a lot easier. It'll be the equivalent of a SQL Server schema, if you're familiar with those.
And if you're not, I'd like to call it the DNA.
All right, sounds good.
Just like there's lots of Matt Petersons in the world, but I'm unique, not because my mom tells me, but I have a different DNA than other Matt Peterson.
You are unique, Matt. You'll notice that there's two default publishers here. We're not going to be using those. We're instead going to create our own publisher. Now, a publisher, again, you should create one for either your company or your department, but you should not create one for you individually or even this project individually. It should be like who was responsible. So I'll call ours like Pragmatic Works, and one for my company in my case. The name will not have any spaces on it. And then the prefix, I'll do PW for our company. And notice what it's going to do here. Every object will have PW in front of it now. So whatever you want, you choose whatever you wish. We're not going to be bothered by the choice right here, choice prefix. It's more of an advanced thing that we don't really care about for the purpose of this. But it's for your drop-down boxes. So I changed this field right here, this field without spaces, and the prefix of PW. You also can put a contact on it if you want. We're not going to worry about that for the time being because we only have a few hours. So we'll save that. We'll then choose that from the drop-down box below. And then we'll go ahead and create this solution. This will take about 10 seconds or so to create. And after it does this, you'll notice that you can always add existing objects into this, including sites, by the way. So if I wanted to bring the site into this, you can most certainly do that. So now you can migrate that site from dev to QA to prod. But Matt, we're going to go through and create 2 tables today.
2 tables.
We'll go ahead and put the metadata for that, the column names on the side of us as well as we create these. So you'll have all that information in typed form, but also we'll go ahead and you can work with us as well. These tables will only have like 7 or 8 columns maybe total. One will have 1 column and the other one will have about 6 or 7 columns.
Yep.
So Matt, do you want to walk me through how we create these tables?
Sure do. So we're going to, in our solution, once it gets created, we're going to go up to that new drop-down.
Oh, first of all, Matt, what if I accidentally screwed up here and I close this and I'm out here?
Yep. So if you go back just to Power Pages, and technically what we're doing here, we could be doing over at Power Apps as well, Power Automate as well, any Power Platform. So if you do, you're just going to go back to that left-hand navigation panel, and you're going to click on Solutions. And then we'll see our Learn with the Nerds demo project here.
Perfect.
Now that we are in our solution, again, our goal is we're going to make one table that's going to have all these different projects that we want work to be done over.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to make the easy table first. So we're going to hit that new drop-down. We're going to go to Table, and then we're going to go to Table Advanced Properties here. This is going to give us a nice little flyout menu over on the right-hand side. And we'll call this our project table.
Okay. This will be a list of all the things that we want done. Like, for example, we want a new headquarters, a new roof repair, whatever.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
But we don't want to do the work. So that's why we're going to get people to give us proposals. Now, every table comes with a primary column. This is really like the way someone would logically call you up on the phone and say, I'm calling about this record. So I think in this case, project name would be good. Or just project, but let's go with project name because we're going to use project in another column. I don't want us to get confused.
And it actually cannot be called project, by the way, because the table is going to interfere with some other column out there. So make sure you put something at the end of it. Name is fine, but you'll see in a moment here what we mean by that. Project is special in this example. But project name is great, so that when I call Matt about a project, I'll say I'm calling about the new headquarters project. And he'll know from that what record to pull up. Matt, is there anything else we should set? So I went ahead and set in the primary column. I set this right here. And then the properties, all I did is I called it project. One thing to avoid is make sure you do not do plural names in these projects. Otherwise, it will mess you up.
Yes, it will.
Because it has plural name right below it here. All right. Anything else I need to set in this one?
No, I mean, if we wanted attachments, we could, but I don't think we need any attachments for this project, for this use case today.
Okay. So I'll save that. Now, we have probably 2,000 people all right now hitting save at the same time. So it might take a few seconds to save. It's okay. It's okay if you get an error, by the way. Sometimes it gets a little squirrely when it's trying to lock objects and all that. Just try again, retry, and eventually it will go through. The reason why you might not see the new option under new in table is you might not have security in the department that the environment you're in. So if you went up top and hit new and you saw tables is grayed out, it's likely a security thing. That's the question in the chat window right now also.
Yep.
All right, Matt, so we have our project table. Anything else we need to do with this table?
Nothing else we need to do with this one. That's going to be our simple one. Now I'm going to make you do a lot of work.
All right.
Not a lot of work. All right. So now we're going to do another new. But now I want you to hit new real quick. Notice you can't do a new table from here because you're already on a table. So the big thing to remember is when you're ready to make a new table, be anywhere but on a table.
Okay, so I'll click on tables in my case.
There we go. And then we're going to go back to the new dropdown. And we're going to go back to table and table advanced properties.
Okay.
Now this table is going to be our proposal table where we're going to get a log of these proposals coming in. Now I'm thinking for my primary column here, I would like for it to be like just auto numbered for us.
Sounds good.
That way my users don't have to do anything with it. It just auto numbers.
So I'm going to go to primary column, and what should we call this auto number column
Like
here?
proposal number. Sounds like a good one to me.
Okay, I notice we don't see an auto number property right now, but we'll come back to that in a second here. So proposal number is our primary column, and let's go back to properties. Now, internally, we're going to want to talk about this proposal, vote on it, send emails about it.
Yes, we will.
What can we do for storing information in here that's extra metadata like that?
Enable attachments.
All right.
So turning on enable attachments is going to give us a great control called a timeline feature. That is going to allow us to do that internal communication. Now, internal. We're going to talk about how we don't expose that. I don't want my contractors to see our internal communication. Right? But turning this on is going to allow for that feature.
Okay, now notice also this schema is PW_proposal. I mentioned also earlier, as I scroll down under advanced options, one of the things we want to do is we're going to turn on the creating a new activity also. Matt, what does this give us? You mentioned timeline control. This gives us extra stuff in there.
Extra stuff in there. So this is where, we got a proposal comes in, I talk to someone else about it, like, oh, they didn't do a good job. Let me send you some photos of what it was. I'm like, I want to store those attachments right there. So in that timeline, I can add those attachments directly into it.
Yeah, it's also going to give you things like emails and fax machine. Nobody has a fax machine anymore. But emails, phone calls, appointments, tasks, all those things come when I check that one box right there as extra activities. You can also customize it and add your own activities. You'll notice there's also things like SharePoint and tracking changes and all those kind of things. We're going to leave those off for the time being. We have more information about that in our classes on our on-demand platform. So we'll go ahead and save this.
Let's save it.
All right, so now we have our second table now. Again, make sure you go singular. Don't call it proposals, call it proposal. If you do that, it will mess things up later down the road, especially on Canvas applications.
Yes, it will. I learned the hard way.
I still have to learn that lesson occasionally. Now we've got the proposal table created. I'm going to go to columns. You'll see columns right here. You'll also see columns on the left side under proposal. Now the first tip I'll give you here is you'll see a lot of columns are already here.
Too many.
You had way too many. When was the record created? When was it last modified? Who did it? Are they thinking about us right now? All that stuff's here. One tip you can do is hit the drop down for name, go to filter by, and type whatever your publisher prefix was. Mine is PW. I hit apply, and it's only going to show you the columns that you really care about that are non-system columns. Now, Matt, I see there's two columns here already. What's the difference in these two columns?
Yeah, so that first column, proposal at the top, that was our display name of our table. That is your unique identifier for every record that gets created. So that one is just going to make it unique. We use that like in Power Automate to go pull back certain records. So whatever your display name is, that becomes your unique identifier. Now, your primary name column, proposal number, that is our second one that's showing up. And I think I mentioned I wanted this to be auto-numbered, Brian.
Right. I see right now it's a single line of text. So again, the rule of thumb on this is if your table name, proposal, matches the column name, proposal, or whatever your table names might be, like project or whatever, that is your primary key for the table from a system side, where this is a primary key for Matt and I to talk about a project. So in our case, we're going to turn this data type, when I click on the column name here, it opens a side panel up. I'll change this from a single line of text to auto number. And then Matt, I also like to put prefixes on mine too.
I love prefixes, especially when you have lots of tables that you've done auto numbering with. They call record 1000, like which record 1000? But if you put that prefix, it helps them.
So I put P on here, and as you said, if I call you about P1001, you know it's a proposal now versus a application for employment or whatever. So I'm going to put the letter P right here, change this to auto number. Those are the only two things I made changes to. I'll go ahead and hit the save button next. All right, so now we've got our list of 5 or so columns that we have to create, 5, 20, whatever. This will be the fast part of our series here. We do have the complete solution you can import in the description of this session today. So if you want to just go to import my stuff, like I built one of these before, Brian, I'm all good, you can do that as well. But for the time being, Matt, what are our first columns we're going to create here?
Well, my first one I think is a really important one. What project is this proposal going to be for? So when they log in, I want them to be able to pick a project. Now, it's not going to be let them type it in. We have all of our project records on our project table.
So let me take a quick step back there. I hit new column here without explaining I hit new column. I hit new column, and we'll call this, Matt, you said project?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool.
And then for our data type, because again, we want them to go and find that record that we have, we're going to go with the data type of lookup.
Okay.
And then lookup here as well. And then in the related table, we're just going to, I don't want to go and scroll through it, just start typing in project here.
There we go.
Makes it a little bit easier.
All right. So again, for the refresher here, we changed the name of the project, lookup, and project, and then hit the save button. So that will be our first one. That lookup column basically joins two tables together. Yep. Makes it super easy for your users. They just hit a question mark, or hit a little magnifying glass, and they'll see a list of all your projects there. What's next, Matt?
Next column. This one I want to do in terms of our security. So when I log in, I should only be able to see my proposals. When you log in, you should only be able to see yours. So I'm going to call this one our initiator column. Now,
right?
I think that looks good. All right.
All right.
So again, what this column is going to control is who can see which data when we get to the security standpoint. So in this case, we're going to do another lookup column. And one of the tables that comes pre-created with Dataverse is a contact table, which is a table that houses contact records, people information. So we're going to look this up into our contact table.
Okay, so again, we have initiator this time, lookup, and contact. Those are our three things we changed. And again, those should be on a screen right now as well, so you can kind of jump ahead if you just want to go ahead and get this part done.
All right. Now, apart from knowing who they are, I want to know what company they are representing as well.
Okay.
So we can call this like contractor or vendor.
How about vendor? I like
We'll
that.
go with vendor.
All right.
And this, again, is going to be another lookup column. So many lookup columns so far, but we're going to go back to a lookup, and we're going to use our other pre-created table, which is our account table.
So far we've used two pre-built tables, contact and account. In Dataverse, contacts always hold your people, but in Power Pages specifically, it's going to hold your usernames and your passwords. Where accounts will be the contact works at an account, potentially, if you want them to. So if you're a school, for example, your account might be a school, where, or it might be a vendor, and it might be a number of other things like that you can use. So, and I notice as we do this, it creates these little entities on the left here that are like little stubs that you can customize that if you wanted to later as well. Matt, I think we're about halfway done now.
We're almost done. Let's do the big one, right? How much is this going to cost?
Okay.
What's their proposal cost? So
proposal
cost,
all right.
anything like that.
Proposal cost, I'll go with. And what type should that one be?
I think currency, if we're dealing with money, right?
Awesome. And so we made the proposal cost, currency. Notice a few things about this also. Currency can be localized also, where you could be seeing things in pesos or in reals, and I can see it in dollars, and it all is stored the same inside Dataverse. I'll save that. So it also is going to create two columns here when we create this currency values. So that handles the whole local currency conversion. So one thing to keep in mind here, you'll see proposal cost and proposal cost base. The key thing to keep in mind is you do not want to use the base column. It's actually storing that in Dataverse in the native currency of this database. But it's going to show you here pesos, pounds, euros, dollars, whatever the localized currency would be if you enable these kind of features. So never use the base column. It is not about that base, about that base, about that base.
No trouble.
Okay, all right, sounds good.
Okay.
All right, so...
All right, our next column here is I want to know.
Joke never works, man.
I know it's a
All
bad
right,
joke.
okay,
It's awful, but hey, we're dads. We're allowed to do it.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is next one is I want to know what the status of this proposal is.
Okay, so proposal status.
Proposal status, because I want to be able for my users to see the status, and internally I want to be able to update that status.
Gotcha. Now, don't use status by itself. It's a reserved word. Make sure you have something status, approval status, proposal status, whatever it might be. All right, data type this time, Matt.
We're going to go with a choice.
Choice column, all right? Sounds good. Now I'm noticing a few extra options that came up after that. What's my next step?
So the next step here is we don't want multiple choices allowed, and we can either make a global choice, which we could use across all of our Dataverse tables, or we can make a choice list just for this column. And so for the time being, for sake of time, we're going to make it a no. It's going to say only for this column, and we're just going to put in some labels here, like
yeah. Now, if for real world though, you probably would have a yes in this case, because you would probably use a proposal status in other types of tables down the road. So it makes it where you can build it once and just be done with it over and over again.
Yes, sir.
All right. So what do you think, Matt? Today, pending would be the first choice.
Pending.
Okay. Oop, if I can spell. There we go.
And then I like maybe just submitted. So we haven't even looked at it yet. Then approved. And then finally like a rejected.
Okay.
And then I'm thinking here, we can put a default in. Probably the default should just be submitted because our vendors are putting this in.
Oh, gotcha. We don't need pending then, do we?
I guess not. Well,
all right, I'll kill that then. Okay, so it's up to you guys whether you want to have it or not. No worries at all. So we'll go with those three statuses here. Either been approved, rejected, and we can also add other ones as well. You can notice you can also color code these. We have more about that in other classes on Dataverse. Looks good. I think, Matt, you even did our Dataverse class, didn't you?
I did do the Building Solutions in Dataverse course, where we go deep into all the functionalities of what Dataverse can do.
So we have our proposal stats. I hit save
Yep.
On that one. And we have, I think, one more column?
One more, maybe like the plan of the proposal. Like if they wanted to maybe give us some, I don't know, some specs about what they would be doing.
Yeah, maybe they'll upload a PDF or something like that. So how do we call this project plan, maybe?
I think that's a good one.
And this is a file that I want them to upload. So I'll go ahead and select the drop-down box and go with file this time. There's a number of ways of doing files inside Dataverse. This just and we can do it this way, or we can also store them in the notes table. This way is a little bit more clean. I think you're gonna like this. So I just made it. I did project plan, did file, and then I'll hit save.
Sounds good. And that is our table.
Sweet. So we have our tables now done. Awesome. So now, Matt, we want to go through the process of actually creating our views and our forms, I guess. I'm going to let you drive this time.
Yeah,
Matt.
sounds good. I'll do the hard work.
Arthritis now, yeah. All right, so sounds good. So we're going to create a few tables here. Actually, we already have our tables created. We're going to create views to see the data and forms to enter the data. Now, why is this critical in a Power Page?
So why it's critical is obviously we want them to see the data. We also want them to be able to maybe edit, enter data. But sometimes we're also going to want to make views and forms that are just for our internal users as well. So we're gonna do a few of those.
So we'll have
options.
an internal version of it that might have the project status, and an external version which does not let the customer actually select that they're approved.
That's right.
All right, cool. And that's going to apply to 90% of the time, not 90%, almost 100% of the time. I've never had a case where I did not do this, where you're going to create a small model-driven app to see your data for the admin staff, and then a Power Page app to see the data from an external user perspective. So Matt, what's our first step? I think proposal is probably done. Let's just, project's largely done.
Project's done.
Let's just go ahead and focus on the proposal table.
Yeah, and let's do the easy one first. I think just the view of the data.
Okay, so our view first.
So I'm here in the proposal table. Now I can come right down here and click on views, or up here at the drop down, I can come on over and click on views as well. And so we have all these views that are pre-made for us, and so there's no need to make a new one, which you can, but let's just take the active proposals view, because what that is, it's pre-made for us. There's a filter on it showing us only active records, and here we go. We got a view. Proposal number, created on, that's our primary name column, and the created on column, which comes with every table you create.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and change that filter up top, I think, as far as a starting point, right?
That's it.
Because there's so many columns here, we can change that filter to custom, and it's only going to show the stuff that Matt has created. So let's
we're going to go down to custom.
Much better.
Yeah, a lot less to deal with. And now we just kind of put them in the order that we want to see. And you know what? Maybe I don't want created on. So I can just come on over here and remove it. You want to keep it, you keep it.
Yeah, so this is basically like an Excel spreadsheet here, guys. And just because you don't show a column here does not mean it's not available to you. This is a summary view, and you'll be able to click on a row and go deeper into it and see more information.
All right.
So let's start there. Most of our customers always want to put everything on there, and it just not possible to see that.
No, it's too much.
I would imagine, Matt, we want to see the initiator who started it, maybe the project. We don't care about the project plan here, but cost, definitely.
Definitely cost. I do want to see the vendor.
Yep. And then maybe the status also.
And maybe the status.
Okay, so that's almost every column.
Yeah.
But we only have that many columns to begin with.
Yeah, and if I don't like my order, I can just simply drag and drop. So if I want initiator, then the vendor, we can go about it that way.
Can we shrink that proposal number column? That's
Yeah.
an awfully wide column.
Right
there.
up here, just like how we drag and drop, we can also change the column widths here for us as well.
And I see you can sort on the right side and filter, so we can always do that and create custom views for different types of needs that you might have in your organization.
Yeah.
So just show me just the pending projects, for example.
Or the ones in the last 2 months, or only that are over $2,000 or whatever it might be.
Gotcha. So what do we do next now?
Now the next thing we're going to do is the easy part. We're going to hit save and publish. And what this means is any part of our environment here, whether we're making a model-driven app, Canvas app, Power Page, now we have created a view that we can use inside of those applications.
That's awesome. There's lots more we can do in this. Again, Matt's class on how to do Dataverse goes way, way deeper on that. But Matt, let's go ahead and hit back and let's try our form next.
Yeah, so we'll go back here. And then I'm just going to come to my drop-down. And then I'm going to come on over into forms.
Again, you could do this on the left if you rather as well. Either way, doesn't matter.
Takes the same
Potato,
place.
potato. All right, so Matt, there's 3 forms here, of which we can use a lot of these, but you covered those in your early class. We're going to focus on that main form for the purpose of this.
And my main form showing at the top, just know that your main form might be the second or the third option down. Don't know the rhyme or reason behind it, but just make sure you find the one that says main, and then we're going to click on it.
And we're creating the main form for the internal staff first.
Yep, and so because we're making it for the internal staff, what I always like to do is I like to come on over to my display name, and then I will call this my internal proposal form.
Okay.
Now, I don't have to use the word form, but that way it's going to be easy to keep track of.
And if you didn't do that, you'll click in the gray area right here, and then you'll see, oh, sorry, not there, sorry. You'll click on the, can you go back to the tree view there, I guess?
Yep. So if not, if you come back on over into your tree view and you click on your form at the top here, then you can come right on over and do it as well.
I was going from a weird angle there. All right, cool. So we have a few things that are a little bit odd, I find, in this. Now, right now, Matt's in the tree view. Let's go back to our data view here also.
Yeah. So we'll come on over to our table columns and probably, again, just want to show only my custom columns.
Right.
So I'm going to go to my custom columns, and these are all the columns that we can add into the form.
Yeah, and it feels like we're focusing on the wrong stuff here. Like that timeline control, which is going to have all of our appointments, our phone calls about this proposal, is eating up about 60% of our space.
It's too big.
Maybe 80% of our space. Can we shrink that down to where it's not as much?
We definitely can. So if I just click in this gray area here, or if you're in the tree view, you can click on your general tab. And then over here where it says column 1 and column 2 width, this is where we can change it.
Ah, let's reverse it.
Yeah, so I'm going to make this my 66, and then I'll make this my 33.
That's way better.
And that's looking a lot better because the timeline doesn't need that much space.
Right. So how do we add our columns to this now?
Yeah, so the way we're going to add our columns in here is I'm going to come right back on over to my table columns option.
Oh, and it lost your filter.
And yeah, and I'm going to put it back on over here to my custom. And then I'm just going to start adding them all in. Now, I don't like the owner here.
Okay.
I like the owner, Bright Knight right here, but I like for the owner to be in the header. So I just dragged and dropped it up to the top. Makes it look a little bit cleaner.
Not necessarily, guys, if you don't want to do it, but
Nope.
we find it's one of those things that it's a secondary information that we always keep in the header in our case.
And I'm just going to start clicking away everything but the
Base
base
column.
column.
Yeah.
So I'm going to bring in my initiator. I'll bring in the project. I'll bring in the project plan. I'm just going to just click away. I know fast clicks there. Put them in whatever order you want. If you don't like the order that they're in, you can always come in here, drag and drop. So maybe I'll put the project plan at the bottom.
Cool.
Maybe I'll move the vendor. Have fun with it.
Yeah, you cannot break this stuff, guys.
No.
The only thing I know we want to change here is that proposal number column.
Yes.
It's an auto number, but right now it feels like as a user that I should be putting something in that box.
I completely agree. So for the proposal number, even though we set it to auto number, we want to make sure that they don't mess up the auto numbering. So I've clicked on proposal number in the form, and I'm going to come right on over here. I'm going to make it a read-only field. Now this is going to be our internal form. So other than that, I kind of want, I don't know, everything else to be editable.
Yeah,
or
that looks beautiful. I think
it
as
looks
is.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah, again, this is a quick rundown here. So we'll hit that save and close in the top right.
You can save and publish there. And then after we've got this one, now we're going to start making the one for the Power Page user, right?
Right.
And there's certain things on here I definitely don't want the Power Page user to see.
Yeah, like the timeline and probably the proposal status. Yeah,
I want to make that maybe read only,
and
or just
probably
get rid
the
of
things
it.
like the vendor and the initiator. They shouldn't be able to pick a different user for that.
Shouldn't be able to.
Yeah,
No.
so maybe we can default that when we get to the part of the app.
I like that. So we'll leave them in here for now, and then we'll show how to default it maybe later. Does that sound good?
Let's get rid of them.
Let's get rid of them?
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
get rid of them. We'll show that too.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to take over here.
Before we do that, though, we want to save a copy up in the top right.
Exactly.
Right?
So one of the things is when you want to modify a form, you don't have to make a brand new one. If you come up to the top and you do a save a copy, and we're going to call this our Power Page proposal form. All right, so Power Page, I got an extra one in there. There we go.
Okay.
And I'm going to hit save. And now here's the one thing I used to always forget. When I would do a save a copy, I'd get excited and I'd start making
changes.
it,
Yep.
start making changes. It keeps you on the exact same form. So
Not
after
anymore,
you do
though.
a save a copy,
They fixed it now.
they did fix it.
Yeah.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
All right, they fixed that. So what we're going
A
to
couple months ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've got our Power Page proposal form, and then, like initiator. I'm going to say, hey, we're not going to let them put the initiator in, so we'll just delete this from the form.
Up top, or you hit the delete key.
Or
either
hit the
way.
delete key either way. And then vendor as well. So this time I'll hit the delete key to get rid of it.
Definitely the status.
And then the status. We'll get rid of that one as well too.
And then I think we don't care about timeline for them, so we can get rid of that timeline.
Yep.
Maybe we go to full screen, full width now. So
I like that.
Let's go ahead and select the background there this time again, like we did last time, and just change it from 2 columns in the bottom right to 1 column.
Sounds good to me. So we'll go to 1 column. Changing our layout here.
There we go.
Again,
It gets rid of it automatically.
gets
then.
rid of it automatically.
So now it's a core form. Now keep in mind, we're not normally in a real world scenario. We'd have a lot more columns. This is just to kind of get you started, so you have the muscle memory going here. Let's save and publish that.
I like it. So we're going to hit save and publish here.
Now, some people are getting errors, including us on the right side. Don't worry about them for the time being. Those matter if you're doing things like JavaScript later, but not going to be a worry for this webinar in particular. So Matt, that's been published out there. We're ready now to build our first app.
Yeah, and we're going to make this our internal quick model-driven application.
Okay, cool.
All right, so once we've saved and published, we're going to come right up here. We're going to go back to our solution. And then once we're on our solution, again, in order to make our app, we need to be anywhere but on a table. So I just usually go up to the All section.
Okay.
And we're going to hit our new drop-down in the upper left. We're going to go to App, and then we're going to go to Model-Driven Application. Again, this would be the one that we're using for internal purposes.
And the reason we included this is because every project you do is going to have this largely, but it's also super fast. I mean, you'll see how fast Matt builds this. Matt's going to go ahead and name this this app here in this case, and he'll hit the create button. What we're not going to show you today is the security of this and the sharing of this. We just don't have enough time on that today, but go check out our other webinars on that, or go to our on-demand learning platform to get more information about model-driven security and Dataverse security. We will do security as it pertains to the Power Page.
Yes.
So Matt, we are now in the designer for this.
Yep, and all I want to do is put in those tables that we need reference to, project, proposal,
Contact and account.
our accounts, and our contacts as well.
Okay.
So right here, there's a button that's just begging to get clicked. So I'm going to click on my add page. Again, we want to bring in our Dataverse tables here. There's other options, but for this scenario, just Dataverse table. And we're going to start to search for those. Well, I don't have to search for the first one. Account's going to be right up here at the top. And then I'm going to search for my other ones. So I also want the contact table.
Right.
All right. And then I also want that project table. So again, I'm just hitting that magnifying glass, just searching for it. And then finally,
proposal.
I want the proposal table. Oop.
Again, you're going to see those on the side of us now. There's 4 tables in total that you're going to be adding. Again, there's a project, proposal, contact, account.
And then we're just going to add them right on too. And again, we can make it look fancier and prettier here, but this is what we need.
It's good, and you can move things up and down. Again, more information about that in our other webinars. That's not the focus of this one, really.
Exactly.
So let's go ahead and publish this bad boy.
Yep. Can save, publish, and play. And we just got to wait a few seconds here for it to go through. And then we'll play it, and then we're just going to kind of make some sample data because we're going to want to see, something in our Power Page. So I just hit the play button right up there. Now you can see I've got, from what Brian did earlier, some sample data in here, my contacts and accounts. But I'm just going to head on over to my project. This is a table we didn't modify with user forms.
Right.
So we didn't need to because there's only one column we really care about, which is our project name. So I just hit new up there. I did that a little bit quick. I apologize.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
So I just went to project table, and then up here at the top, going to click on new, and then just give it a project. So Brian, what's our first project we're going to do?
We're building a new headquarters. How about we go ahead and talk about our new headquarters?
New headquarters.
All right, as part of that new headquarters, we need movers also.
All right, so we're going to do save and close here, and then we'll do another new project. Again, just some sample data here. Movers.
Movers, yeah. And we also need a sample project for my new Lambo that I'm gonna go ahead and get.
One. I didn't know. What color are we gonna go with there?
I had to sell your car to make it happen, but
you didn't get much for that. All right, so our new Lambo will save and close. So now we've got some projects.
There we go. So, and eventually we'll have some new proposals entered in the other system there also.
Yep.
Now, if we go over to the proposals, just really quickly here, and you hit the new button there, notice up top, there's a few options we have when you hit the new button. Up top, you'll see this is the internal form, but Matt can hit the drop-down box there to see what it looks like in Power Pages also. So this is a very, very quick application that we built in no time at all. Don't worry, we're going to come back and actually enter proposal data later. But let's pick on a contact that makes sense for us to impersonate later also.
Yeah, so we're going to come on over here into contacts.
I like Jim Glenn. Let's do
I got like Jim.
All right, Jim is our man here. So we're going to later impersonate Jim and make us think that we're actually entering this in on behalf of Coho Winery and on behalf of Jim Glenn. So we'll walk through that process later of actually creating a proposal with him and creating a contact record for him inside of our Power Page. So let's go ahead and jump there next and see how we're looking.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go back to the first tab where we had Power Pages. Right. Or we can go to make.powerpages.microsoft.com and we'll hit the back button on this app now to get back to our main solution. Now, if we hit home here, that should take us back to hit the back button one more time, and then we'll hit the home button to get back. Now we'll see our app here. We haven't really explored this app that we've been building, but our next step is ultimately to kind of start editing the pages and go on a little tour of what this is going to have for us. Now our first step here is to hit that edit button that you're seeing right down below in the purple. Blue, purple, whatever it is.
Blue, purple, I don't know. I'm not the best with colors and knowing them. And again, if you couldn't get here, make.powerpages.microsoft.com gets you right there too.
It might take about 30 seconds to 45 seconds to open up the first time. This is the designer, the portal designer you'll have to basically make any changes that you want to. So it's a really design studio lets us make like arbitrary changes right here on the site here. So for example, if Matt wants to change that headline right there, let's go ahead and make a quick change.
Yeah, let me get rid of this over here. I'm also going to not turn off, just going to hide that Copilot panel for the time being. That way it's a little bit easier for you all to see.
Yeah, there's AI integrated into all over the place. We could have built this page with AI. We can build new pages with AI, but we're going to keep it really simple here. Let's go ahead and just make a quick change here. How about on the bottom there, it says create an engaging headline. How do we change that text there to welcome to our portal or welcome to whatever?
Yeah, what's great is you just kind of hover over it and then you click inside this component here. And then I'm just going to come on up here and just highlight the whole thing. Well, I'm going to try to highlight the whole thing. There we go. Welcome to your proposal portal.
Okay, sounds good.
Something like that.
Now, one thing to note here, there's no save button. So the minute Matt goes ahead and clicks away from this, look up on the top right, you'll see where it says saved, top middle, excuse me. Now it says saving, then back to saved. So there's no save button. You got to be very careful to actually roll things forward on this. Matt, how about changing things like the header, the logo, and those kind of things?
Yeah, so if I come on up here to the header and I just come and hover over and I go to edit site header, we can see that I can change, the site title. You don't have to have one, but we could put our wonderful Learn with the Nerds portal.
All right, sounds good.
Awful spelling, but you'll get the idea.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And then if I come on over here to like the site logo, this is where I could go and upload an image and bring in my own logos to it as well.
Gotcha.
And then also in terms of the styling, I can come on over, choose a different color that I want to be in the background. These are our current brand colors, but I could choose a different header background, my fonts. So a lot of styling that you can do with it.
One thing to note also is you'll see that edit code button all over the place. We're not actually going to click on it right now. It's a little more advanced, but we do have that in our on-demand platform. We have a whole tour of that. What that basically will do, it opens up Visual Studio on the web where you can make more of the coding changes if you want to add things like JavaScript or adding extra styling on it or customization or making things more dynamic. All that can be done inside of Visual Studio very easily. Matt, let's go ahead and close this and let's kind of explore what this interface gives us in whole. We kind of did a little change here.
Yeah, so you got these different workspaces, I like to call them, on the left. Your Pages workspace is where you do your modifications of the pages, where we'll go to create pages in just a little bit. Underneath here, we have our styling workspace. This is where we go in and choose the styling that we want, picking our colors, the fonts, the button design that we want to. So we just got it basic here. We start off with the starter layout here. But Brian, we can also upload
our own CSS even if you want to do. Make it really customized.
Yeah.
So let's keep on going this. What else we got here? We got the data one next.
Then underneath, this is one of my favorite workspaces, the data workspace. Back in the day, anytime you wanted to do anything with the Power Page, data-wise, you always just go back to Power Apps. But now we can do it here in the data workspace too. You can create new tables. You can modify your tables, views, and your forms. You don't get everything that you get at Power Apps, but you get all the main stuff that you need right here at Power Pages.
So pretty much everything we did in the last half hour or so could have been done here.
Could have been done here. Yep.
So we did it in the other interface just because it gives us a little more options, a little more familiarity. However, there is a way to go ahead and make sure this actually is using the same solution that we used before. How do we go about that, Matt?
Yes, so right here in our data workspace, next to data, we're going to click on that gear icon. And then where it says the current solution, we want this, everything that we do here, we want it to be part of our big folder project solution idea. Okay. So I'm going to click on my Learn with the Nerds demo project here. It takes about 2 to 3 seconds. You'll get a green check mark. And now everything that we do here is going to be included as part of that solution.
That's awesome. So any new tables, any new forms, all that gets wrapped into the solution for portability.
Yes.
Okay, great. So when we do that, and the minute we start using this area will start filling out also. We're only seeing the feedback table right now. Don't worry, we'll see a lot more as we start going through this. What else do we have here, Matt?
Then over underneath our data, we've got our setup area. And from our setup area, this is where you're really going to go when you're ready to go live. We've got a site checker inside of here. It's going to let you know, hey, are there any big issues, like maybe tables that you have open access to? And they're going to say, hey, are you kind of really sure that you want that to be part of it? This is where we also go in and can check out our site performance as well. How is it doing? So it's really kind of that management area, not the design part.
Gotcha. It also has things like external apps that you can put in there as well. Things like a DocuSign. Matt, would you mind clicking on that? You can integrate things like cloud flows into this, but also in our external apps on the left side, you'll be able to have the same eye problem I have, don't you, Matt?
Find my DocuSign here.
Oh, on the left there, external apps.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. You can integrate things like Stripe for payments and DocuSign for signatures. If you have things like Adobe Sign, you can most certainly do that, but you'll be using things like Power Automate to integrate that into it. This won't be as crisp and as clean of an integration as it is with DocuSign right now. The last one, security. We will be using security quite a bit today.
Yep.
This is where we can go through and open up the website, open up web pages, or open up the data in those web pages. So again, we'll come back to this quite a bit, but there's some really neat stuff we can do inside here.
And then there's one other little hidden part. I don't want to get anyone not knowing, but we also have Power Pages Management. This is going to be a model-driven application that's built for you that will help do certain improvements, so to speak, of your Power Page. Back in the day, we had to do everything. Not everything, a lot of stuff in Power Pages Management. But now we kind of go there for more of the advanced settings and things that we want to do.
And we will be using that later today also. So Power Page Management, when we say go there, this is how you'll get there. You hit the little 3 dot on the left side, and you'll go to Power Page Management. So Matt, I think we've got the tour now done.
Yep.
We mentioned the lack of a save button. Let's go back to Pages, and let's go ahead and add our first new page.
All right, so we're going to go back to that Pages workspace, and then right up here at the top where it says Add Page, I'm just going to click on that. And my first page I want to make is basically to see their proposals.
Okay.
All right, we'll do the entering in proposals. And you're like, Matt, we don't even have proposals yet. There's a method to the madness, I promise. So for our page name, I'm just going to call this Your Proposals.
Okay. See, there's a whole bunch of templates we can choose here. Matt, I don't want anybody that's not logged in to see this page.
Oh, well, In order to do that, we're going to have to start setting up some page settings and some security settings.
Yeah, I noticed down below is also some good stuff around there as well, I think. Oh, nope, sorry, not
And
quite.
we also can make custom layouts as well. So
Cool. So we'll come back to that, I guess, on the security side?
Yeah,
All
we'll
right,
come
sounds
back
good.
to that
All right.
one. And I'm just going to click on Add here.
Now, how do I go about actually previewing this site of all the work you've already done?
Very good, because we're just making it in the designer, right? What does it really look like? So in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you've got a preview. So when we click on Preview, then we're going to click on Desktop. All right, so I'm just going to click on Desktop right here, and it's going to open up a new tab for us in just a few seconds.
It does take about 20 seconds to open up sometimes. The other thing to note, there's a sync button next to it. The sync button is going to be used if you make a change outside this designer. This is a design studio here. So if we were outside Design Studio making a change, like in a portal management app, for example, Power Page Management app, if we do it there, the sync button will bring those changes into this app also so we can see those. So just a heads up, if you do that, you want to kind of do it in both spots. So here's our beautiful site right now with nothing in it. But if you go to home and all that, we'd be able to see all those kind of areas there as well.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Whenever you do preview, whatever page you are currently on in the Design Studio, that is the one that's automatically going to pop up for you.
Gotcha. So we want to see a list of all the proposals that you, Matt, have already done.
That's correct. So, I mean, look at this right here. Right over here, we've got list. Now, a list, think of that as the view that we made. Just a different name here.
I see the 3 dot there also. Let's kind of explore it a little bit here. So I saw there's things like Power BI. If you want to host a Power BI report inside of Power Pages, you can do that. You can also filter it to where Matt can only see his own report as well. You also have things like a card view of the data. You'll have forms that you can put in here, breadcrumbs, all sorts of goodness you can do without any coding at all. But Matt, let's do our list first.
All right, let's do our list to start us off with. So I'm going to click right here on list. And it says, okay, you're wanting to make a list here. Now, for the list, we need to choose a table. Now, there's some preview features in here as well. I think we're going to skip the little preview features for
We'll do that
today,
for time being,
for the time being, just because you might not have the same feature that is currently here. And my goal was to show those proposals. So in that choose a table, I'm just going to search for proposal, and I'm going to click on proposal. And now it says, okay, well, now you need to choose which one of your views do you want to show the user. Well, we've only really modified one. We're only concerned with one, which is our active proposals view. So I'm just going to put a check next to active proposals.
And can I stop you there real quick?
Yes.
So those preview features do some neat stuff. There's one up top for AI stuff where it'll actually summarize your view, your list of data. So if you have lots of data, it can go ahead and scrub it and give you a more of a textual narration summary of that. The top one's my favorite. We won't be doing it today, but it gives you the new view of what lists look like. Allow you to sort data and filter data and do some other goodness like that. It looks a lot prettier, but for the purpose of this webinar, we're going to go ahead and skip it for the purpose of the webinar just to make sure everybody's stable and can go forward.
Very good. Now, with our list as well, we'll come back to this a little bit later. We also have actions that we can put buttons in for them to be able to do things like make a record, edit a record, delete a record. You can see there's a lot here. We're going to come back to this a little bit later. But for the time being, and you also have more options here where how many records do you want to show per page, enable search in the list. But we're going to keep it basic here. So we're just going to click on done. And we now have our
Look at that.
list.
All right. So we're seeing the same view you created earlier, but now in a web page versus on a model-driven app. There's some stub data. It's a very Latin kind of stub data here. That's okay though. Lorem ipsum kind of stuff. But I'm noticing a permission. Do we want to show the error first and see what we get first?
Yeah, let's show that.
Let's not fix it first.
Let's not fix it first, right? So we've got our proposals in here, and right now, technically, anyone can see it as well. So we'll fix that too. But let's just go preview what we've got here. And we're going to give it a second. It's going to do a reload here. It's flushing the cache.
Yeah, that's a good point. Every time you hit that button, it's going to flush the cache, and that's why it takes about 10 seconds. You'll notice the error that Matt's getting. We want to make sure we learn through error messages, because you will get this error message over and over and over again. I want to make sure it's really clear how to fix this. What's happening here is it's not using the same security as Dataverse. Power Pages has the ability to do things like row-level security, where Matt can only see his own data, and account-level security, where Matt can see anybody in his company, to name a few of the options we have. When you have no permissions to that data, or you can't see any data, this is the error you're going to get right here. So this could happen with lookup options. So we're going to have to fix this a number of times here. Matt, the first thing is we're not even signed in.
We're not signed in.
Even if you want anonymous users to be able to see data, you have to explicitly say that in order for that error to go away that we're seeing here. So should we go ahead and look at the sign in button first and then see what we want to do about that?
Yeah, let's come on over here to the sign in.
So you'll notice when you click on sign in, there's things like Azure AD is turned on. We can turn all of these off. There's also the option for registration up top where you can register for an account. Or you can also add your own. So you can add things like Facebook or Azure B2C, which gives you 30 or 40 different options. Anything from WeChat to Facebook to whatever. Salesforce, all that kind of stuff will be built in this. But for the purpose of this webinar here today, to make sure all of you guys can do this, we're going to use an internal login for this. Internal logins are fairly rare. Typically you'll see the Azure AD logins or those kind of things, but we're going to go ahead and keep it very, very simple today. So Matt, we saw that contact list we had before, the list of Jim Glenn, for example.
Yes.
I would like to grant Jim Glenn access to this webpage. Well, how do we go about doing that?
Well, there's a few things. One, to give him just access to the webpage here, I'm going to come back on over to my design studio, and I'm going to we could do it in the security section here where we could make it, but what I like to do, I like to go to Power Pages Management. So I'm going to move to Power Pages Management. So that's the 3 dots inside of the design studio.
And what are the things we're about to show here? We're going to show creating a web role.
Yes.
And then enabling Jim Glenn for that web role and for an account, and then signing in as that account.
And then signing in all together, because my idea is Jim is one of my contractors, vendors, and want him to see this page, see only his proposals. So there's going to be quite a bit that goes in with it.
We can also make this portal to where only people that we invite, like we're about to do right now, can get access to it. So the registration button can go away, the login button go away. Only people that have the right creds can get into this portal as well. So let's do it then, Matt. Let's go ahead and go to Power Page Management.
Pages Management.
All right.
All right. So once here, let me make a web role first that I want to assign to Jim.
So web roles are how you're going to lock down your site. For example, you might have a web role called teachers and one called students. And each of those people can see different pages and different data in those pages. So we're keeping it really simple right now. We'll call it just vendors.
Yep.
Maybe.
So I'm going to come on over here to web roles. And then up here at the top, I'm going to make a new web role. Now there's already some that come pre-built, authenticated, administrator, anonymous, but this is a special one.
Okay, cool. So the authenticated, let's kind of briefly cover that one. So authenticated means that you have logged in at all. And so these are 3 built-in ones that every Power Page has. So if you don't care that they're in some special role, you just care that, hey, they indeed have logged in, then if authenticated users will cut it for you. But if Matt's going to show us now, we're going to create a special one that only people that Matt wants can bid on projects.
So I'm going to give it a name to start off with here. I'm going to call it my vendor role.
Okay.
Then I'm going to have to choose the website that I want this to apply to, which ours has just got that generic name of Site 1. And now it's tempting to change these no's to yeses. But then what you're doing is this special role that you are making, if you change authenticated user to yes, then that means every authenticated user is now going to get anything that we apply to this role. So typically you keep those set to no.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't give you that option.
I don't even know why either, but it's tempting to say yes. So I'm going to save my role here. And give it a second. So the role has now been saved. All right, so now that the role has been saved, the next part is I would want to assign this role to somebody.
To Jim Glenn.
To Jim Glenn, because we love Jim. So I'm going to come on over here now to Power Pages Management on the left. We're going to click on Contacts, and I'm going to head right up here to Jim.
You're going to notice this page that he's going to now looks identical to the one that we were in before for Jim Glenn. You will notice that the view up top, the form name up top where it says Contact, that's what we saw before, but we can change that to other types of forms that have richer data inside of it. So right there, so which one should we go to here?
The Portal Contact Enhanced. If you're like, well, what's Portal? Well, that's the old name of Power Pages. They were called portals. All right, so now I'm here into Jim. And one of the things is I want Jim to be associated with that that vendor role.
Okay.
So I'm going to scroll all the way down here to the bottom where it says Web Roles. And then over here, I'm going to click on Add Existing Web Role because I've already made it. Now, if I didn't, I could make a new role right from here as well, but we made it earlier. So I'm going to click on my vendor role, and now I'm going to add that vendor role to good old Jim. So now Jim, in the future, whenever I do finally get him the ability to come to my app, Jim is associated with the vendor role.
Gotcha. Keep in mind, these are not the same as security roles you have in Dataverse. So if you are a Dataverse person, Dataverse Power Pages does not use those same roles because everybody's really anonymous as far as the Power Pages goes. So that's why we have to kind of do these extra layers of security to make sure it all is locked down. So Matt, we also could have got there by going to vendor role and then going add, and adding all of our users right there as well.
All right, so now I think I'm ready for Jim to come on over and see.
Come on in, Jim.
Let's go get him. So I'm going to create an invitation here for Jim. All right, so in the invitation, I just have to come up here and hit save. So that's going to create the invitation. Now we can send that invitation out through an email. We can have Power Automate flows that do that for us as well.
Yeah, I typically have it also where when a minute somebody creates a contact in my table, then I'll go ahead and send an invitation out as well. So you can do this all through Power Automate. I have a YouTube video on how to do that in case you're curious. So Jim, all we did with Jim here is we hit save and the invitation's created?
It's created.
Okay.
And now I just want to pretend I'm good old Jim. So I'm going to come on over here into my advanced area. And here's his invitation code. So typically what I recommend, triple click sometimes works. I would do a Control A as you are making your invitation, then a Control C to copy that invitation out. So then put that somewhere in a notepad, just in case you forget it or whatever it might be. So now that I've got that, I'm going to come back on over, and I just want to make sure Jim can sign in. All right.
I think at third tab over there you have sign in open.
He's got my sign in already open here. So I'm going to come up here and click on my redeem invitation.
Now in reality, Jim would have gotten an email from us, and it would have had the link that would have dropped him right into the screen with the invitation code potentially already pasted in. That can be done with some JavaScript voodoo and just a simple link.
All right, so I'm going to come on over here, paste in that invitation code, and then I'm going to register Jim. And so in a second, he's going to be greeted here with basically a register where he's going to come up with the username, come up with the password. So we're going to keep it easy today here. We're just going to go Jim Glenn. We'll do a password here.
Password 123.
Oh, always. And let me make sure I type
it does protect your password also, guys. So it will enforce some best practices there. We'll see how he did on his.
If I typed that, I typed it in incorrectly. I typed it.
I interrupted you. 4, 8.
There we go. Come on, Brian.
This makes for good TV here.
There we go. Hey, that's looking better. I didn't mess it up.
Now, one thing while this is logging in, one thing that's really cool about this also is you do have the option of making this multilingual. So you'll notice as he scrolls down here on this profile of Jim Glenn, preferred language is an option. All you have to do is install the language pack, and now many of the fields like the ones you're seeing right now in the contact table will be auto-translated for you. If you have something like your own custom field, you can do translations there also using the Dataverse options. So Jim is now signed in. We can now alter these tables. We see his phone number, his website, all those kind of things. But largely, we're good now, I think.
We're good.
Can Jim see our data?
Well, let's see. So I'm going to update it here. I'll sign him in. And hey!
Uh-oh.
No.
So he has been given the security role, but we're still seeing the red X here. So why do you guys think that is? So in the chat window, go ahead and make your own guess here. But let's go ahead and start to fix it, Matt.
Let's start to fix it.
So we want to go back to that design studio again, right?
We do want to go back to the design studio. There's a few places we can go. One is we can go to security, and we can click on table permissions.
I prefer the way we are right now, at least, to be in our page that we're in. Both work great. But
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So the nice thing here is if we go to the page that's having the issue. This page, we're having an issue with the data. Well, in the upper right-hand corner, we have new permission. So we're going to click on new permission. And this is what I do like about Power Pages because they lock everything down for you. So you don't expose data that you were not meaning to.
Yeah, the nice thing going this direction also is it went ahead and pre-filled it all out for you. Well, most of it out for you.
Yes.
So we see active proposals. I like to keep the same name of the table name from largely. And I generally like to have an extra little qualifier in there so I know what kind of rights I'm trying to give this person.
I do too.
I'll put like contact dash or somewhere in there. I'll put the word contact so I know what it is. We'll talk about what that means in a moment here, but let's go ahead and give it a better name of something that we can recognize later.
So contact dash, and again, that's the active proposals. That's the name of the list that we are bringing in here.
All right, cool. So we had the proposal table. The next one is access type. Global access means that anybody that has this security role can see all data in the proposal table. We definitely don't want that. Contact access means that Matt can only see records that he's tied to. Account level access means that Matt can see all records he's tied to as well as anybody else in his organization. In the contact table, there is a company name, and as you go up that chain there, that's how it ties all the people together in the organization. Self-access we don't really care about right now. It's only where you can see your own profile, basically. But for the purpose of this, let's do contact access.
I agree, because I don't want someone else seeing other people's proposals. And this is why, now look right here, we have to choose the relationship. So that's for my regular Dataverse people, like there's the owner column, and that's how we can start to control things. But on a Power Page, if you ever want contact access, you got to have a lookup to the contact table.
That's why it's a bad idea, guys, to create your own contact tables. If you're doing a Dataverse application, you create your own person table or a customer table, you are precluding yourself someday from using things like Power Pages. It makes it so much easier.
It does. So if I come on down here, there is that initiator. All right, so that's, I like to call it initiator. You give it whatever name earlier, but I've always liked initiator because of this guy here who's taught me everything I know.
Well, let's give them the full meal deal so they can be able to do anything with their own proposals.
So they can read, they can update the proposal, they can create, they can delete a proposal, and they can do append and append to. Now, the append and append to all gets dealing with your lookup tables and being able to attach a record to another table, another record to be attached to this one. We're giving them everything.
The critical thing we need to do is we need to add a role. I can't tell you how many times I forget that one step. And notice what Matt has an issue here right now. So he's not seeing that third role he created in Power Page Management.
What?
Again, in the chat window, why do you think that is? So we'll go ahead and while you're typing that, we're going to go ahead and save this so we don't lose our work. But know we have to create a security role in a moment here also. Yeah, All right, so if you said that Matt was outside the interface and did not hit that stinking sync button, you would be correct. So let's go ahead and hit that sync button in the top right.
So we're going to hit on sync up here. And again, because we made that change in Power Pages Management, in order for it to be synced over so we can see it in the studio, you got to hit sync. Now, I also call my sync my get out of jail free button. When something just doesn't work, I'm like, maybe it's a sync issue, and I just click on it.
All right, so we went ahead and got the sync working by theory. Sometimes, if it still is not showing up, you might have to refresh your browser or leave and come back. That's a pretty rare condition, but we're gonna assume this is gonna work in our case. So now that he did that, he clicked on the list, and he'll hit permissions to go back to where we were before. It's gonna show us the permission that's already there. Here we go. He can select it, and then he can hit the little hyperlink on that word right there. Then as he scrolls down, hopefully we can see under Add Roles the option for Vendor Role. Sweet.
Here we go. So we're going to add that role in. We got our vendor role. And again, you could attach this permission to multiple roles as well.
Right. Matt and I like to teach through errors, so we're gonna trap you a few more times a day and kind of take you down the path that's going to fail. There we go.
So we're going to save this, and then we're gonna re-preview. And let's see if we got rid of the first issue. So I'm going to hit preview up here again. I'm going to go back to the desktop.
Okay. Now if it's worked, we should see no records in here.
Yes, because we have not made any, but we should.
Nice.
There we go. All
So
right.
security is one of the hardest parts to get used to when you're doing Power Pages largely. But as Matt showed us, it's not a hard fix to get these things going. So let's I guess we need to create a record now.
Yeah, but I want to show one more thing if you don't mind,
please,
Brian.
absolutely.
So let's say you're making this Power Page and you've got a few pages in there and you don't want every page to be seen by every user.
We mentioned that before.
Yeah, and so let's say that when Jim logs in, he's supposed to see your proposals, but when Maria, who is not a vendor, but we have a big Uber Power Page, that needs to be a page that they can't even get to.
Right. Well, you brought something up there. One Power Page can serve any number of purposes also. So you could have Maria has the stuff for onboarding employees where Jim gets the vendor stuff. But you're only paying one license for all those applications. It's based on the number of authenticated users coming in a given month. So let's go ahead and protect this page now.
Yep, and this is a really easy thing to do. So you're just going to find the page that you want to protect. You're going to hit the 3 dots right next to it, and then you're going to move on down here to page settings. So in page settings, right down here in permissions, you'll see that any page that you make is automatically, anyone can see this page who has access to the Power Page. But we're like, nah, I want to choose who can see this page. This is where we can define which role. So I'm saying I only want it for users who have the vendor role.
Perfect.
And then I hit OK, and that's it. So now only Jim, only people who have the vendor role can see this page.
Awesome. So if you don't see that page, it might redirect you over to a login page. It might redirect you to says you don't, it's 404 error, it will protect it doesn't exist. But really, really easy way to secure this. So guys, you have now gone through, you've created a data model, you've created your way of viewing the data, and you have your data now live on a Power Page. That's pretty awesome. We can do better though, I think.
I think so.
We need a way now we can actually insert some new data.
We do.
Okay, so should we create a new page for this? Like a sub-page maybe or something like that?
Yeah, we can make a sub-page for it. I like that. So right underneath here for your proposals, if I hit the 3 dots, you can see that you can add in a new sub-page.
He's on the pages section, guys, there also.
So sorry, yeah. And again, when you add a new sub-page, it's going to look kind of like what you see with the template here, just a little drop-down. So if I click on Add a New Sub-Page.
Yeah, so we call it maybe Create Proposal?
Yeah, Create Proposal.
Now, one thing I typically do also is you may not want people to see the sub-page and only navigate there through the list. So I typically will uncheck that box for this sub-page in particular here for adding page to navigation. Again, this is...
Then how are they going to get to it?
We're going to make a way to get there.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
All right.
So we'll give a more controlled way of getting there versus them just getting there the navigation instead. So this looks pretty good. Now, of course, can put some styling on it and all of that, but let's go ahead and hit Add now.
All right. So we're going to click on Add here.
Okay.
And
okay.
Other pages.
Other pages. So other pages means it's not part of navigation. You'll see it. It has a little lock and key on it, meaning it's inheriting a security from the parent, but it is not in the navigation page. So let's go ahead and make a way to create from the other area first.
Okay.
So how we go there first?
So how do we get here?
Yes, exactly. Let's find a way to get there, a better way of getting there than just that. So let's go to your proposals and let's go to your list again. When you select that list, you'll notice up top there is an edit list option.
Oh, they're even telling me to go over here and click on it.
Yeah, there you go.
I know what I want.
And if you go to actions before, this is where Matt was showing you before, we'll select actions. We'll give the ability to create a new record right there. As he does that, we'll change the form. On the left there, we can actually just open up a form, but let's actually do a little more planning on this. Let's go to a web page instead where we control the whole styling of it. I don't want to have it pop up and risk some of these pop-up blockers getting in the way. So we're going to do a web page. We'll point to the web page that Matt just created and you just created called Create Proposal. And the button label will be called Create. That's probably fine for the time being.
Great.
All right, cool. And if you leave it alone, it'll be Create also.
I like to write it.
Additionally, we can also go where it says Download List Contents. If he toggles that on, for example, he can toggle that, and it will put a little download button where they can create an extract out of this of all an Excel spreadsheet of all their proposals. You can see a delete option, an edit option, but we'll leave it. Let me do the delete option. Just one more thing.
One more.
We'll give him one more just for fun here, and that'll be our delete option there also. All right, cool. So with that now done, Matt can hit the Done button.
Boop, boop.
And we're going to see new buttons up top for things like download, create, and a drop-down box for every record to delete the object. So with that, and again, keep in mind, it looks different on the new preview feature for lists and this also. You can customize, though, all those buttons to be different colors, different themes, and say different words there if you wanted to. Matt, I think we've got our create now done. Now let's create our form inside that Create Proposal page.
Let's do it.
We'll kind of see it all together.
See it all in one fell swoop. Swoop. I don't know. All right, so now we're on our Create Proposal page. And what we really want to put in here is a form. We already made the form. That's what's beautiful.
We did create the form
We've already done the hard work. Now, here's the reason I kind of mentioned that. I'll mention in a second. So there is a way using Copilot AI here to where you can say, here's a form that I want to create. I want to collect different donations coming in for my student clubs. I want to log the date, the time, all of this. And if you didn't make the Dataverse table, it makes the table for you.
That's awesome, yeah.
It makes the form. Now, we've already done the hard work, so we're not going to do that. So this was always tricky to me, Brian. New form. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I've made the form already. I'm not trying to make a new one.
So you created a model-driven form, a Dataverse form, but you have not created the Power Page side of the house. So that's the piece we have to kind of connect now.
That's it. So they're saying, hey, you don't have any forms in here other than the one they gave us. So we're saying, oh yeah, we do want to add in a new form, one that we have made. And then we're going to choose what table did that come from.
Okay, the proposal table.
The proposal table. And then we're going to click on proposal. Now, this was the important part, y'all. Why we made those two separate forms and why I gave it those display names. I do not want to expose my internal one. I want to give the Power Page one. So I'm going to choose my Power Page proposal form. All right, so that's the big part there. Then we're going to move on over into our data section. And we're going to decide, what does it do? Well, in this case, it's going to be creating a record.
So Matt, if we want it to do all the above, we have to create 3 forms.
That's correct.
So we're Power Apps people. We're used to creating one form to do all that.
Dual,
Yeah.
trio purpose, yeah. But in this case, each component, you have to choose which ones it's going to do. So in our case, we're only going to be making a new record here today.
Okay.
Then we're going to go to the on submit, and this is where, do I want to show them a message?
I like to redirect them back to the other page.
I like the redirect as well because, they've already made the record. They probably want to make sure, hey, I can see it. So we're going to do a redirect to a page, and we're going to take them right back to your proposals.
Yeah, there we go.
Now, Brian, the next part, this was, I believe
this CAPTCHA stuff was invented by the devil somewhere in the 1600s, roughly.
and they just didn't have the technology to
They didn't have
enforce
technology.
it.
They eventually got enough. So we want to go ahead and uncheck this. They're already logged in. We already know they're real people. We're going to turn off CAPTCHA in this case. I'm not sure why it's default for this, but we'll go ahead and kill it for this purpose.
All right, now we're going to move into our attachments. And do we want to enable attachments with our proposals? We've already got the file column on there, but if we wanted even more,
Yeah, we could do it. Let's leave it off just to show what it looks like without it first.
it.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there's this last option, the AI form fill. It's in preview. This is where it will. Have you used it much?
Only a little bit so far.
A little bit,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it'll start to scan through and try to parse out where the data should go based on a PDF.
There's really, really cool stuff they can do with this, though. So the example I did was a volunteer form that was handwritten by parents. We took a picture with our phone and then uploaded it, and it took the handwritten information, OCR'd it, and actually put it in the right field. And it was in different orders. It was magical. So it is really, really cool. Let's leave it on so we can show where it's at.
Okay.
And then we can turn it off later.
All right, sounds good. So then we're going to come on over here and we're going to hit OK.
Is that done?
I think so.
All right.
There's only one way to know.
Let's try it. Let's go back to the first page and then kind of navigate and watch the process. There are some issues we're intentionally leaving in here. So when you see errors in a moment, do not freak out. We are intentionally driving you down the cliff here, and we're going to show you how to uncouple that. So let's preview this, Matt. So we went back to our new proposal page, or your proposal page, and then we're going to preview it back on the desktop. Again, it takes about 30 seconds. It's flushing the cache, reloading the cache, and there's our create button.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do it.
I like it. It's there. We're going to hit create. Should redirect us to that other page.
There we go. Now that's the PDF part up top. There is the optional piece that Matt turned on. The last part. That's the OCR piece I was mentioning just a few moments ago. Now I notice proposal number is optional. It looks like it's read only. This might be an example of something we want to hide though from your users because it might feel they have to type something in there. So for this form, you may want to just all hide it all together or remove it all together. All right, now see proposal. Let's go take a look at projects here.
All right, here we go. Let's go get one of those.
Boom! All right. What do you think the problem is here, guys? We've seen this before. The same thing's happening again. This comes down to security here, right? So we're going to fix this security piece, but it looks like this is for the project table, Matt. So you should have read-only access to all projects to see which one you're going to bid on.
That's true.
So let's go ahead and cancel this, and let's go fix that, and then come right back to it.
on over.
Yeah.
All right, so come back on over.
Matt, we've showed the table way of getting here. Let's show the other way of getting here this time under security.
Perfect. So right over here, lots of tabs. So now we're back in our design studio. We're going to go to the security section. And then right here, we've got table permissions. So I'm going to click on my table permissions. This is where you can see a consolidated view of all of your table permissions. And we see we've got our one right there for proposals, which good.
But we need projects though, huh?
Yeah, because we told them we could create a proposal, but now they're having to go and get another record. And we didn't open that up. So let's make a new permission up here at the top.
And this is the second way. You could do it in the other way as well, but it's just another way of showing you the same thing. And you'll see immediately why it's more difficult here, because of the stinking having to type everything in.
Got to type everything in. So what I kind of like to do, and Brian, you correct me if you like to do it a different way. I first like to figure out my table. So I like to go, I'm going to do project. Then I figure out the access type.
It's global
For this. Yeah. And then that's where I'll go in. When they don't pre-fill it in for you, that's just the way I do it. Other people just go, just put in the stinking name to begin with. But
I like it. It's all good.
All right. Good deal. Now, our permissions, obviously, we want them to read.
Right.
Do I want them to update?
No update, no create, no delete. Maybe we want to pin the record, though, so we can give them an option to pin that record to their own proposals and whatnot. So we'll do those two appends. And then we want to make sure it's the right role this time, which is our vendor role.
Because if we left off those append options, then they would be able to see it, but still not be able to make that record because of the relationship there. All right, so we got global project, global access, read, append to, vendor role. I think we're about ready to roll and see what goes on. So let's save what we've got here. Now I don't need to sync here because I'm not doing it in Power Pages Management.
Gotcha.
So this should work for us. So
we should be able to go back to the form on the pages section here, re-preview.
Exactly right.
Give her a shot.
And I'll just stay right here, so we don't have to click on a different one. I'll come on over to my create proposal.
Good idea,
and just preview. One less click that y'all have to see us go through. So we'll give it a second to load up. And I think it has loaded.
All right, let's see. Do we see proposals?
There we go. We see them. So let's go with your new Lambo.
I like it.
All right. I have no clue what even a Lambo costs.
I don't either.
But let's say you're getting a good deal. We're going to go with $45. And then we can submit this. And hey, yo. What?
Again, we're driving you off the cliff here. So what about that security earlier?
Wait, can I go check to see if the record was made?
Yeah, let's do that. So we have that model-driven app that we created earlier. Matt, let's open up that model-driven app that you played earlier. Go back over to proposals, and there's a record, but we can see immediately what the problem is. So this is the number one problem when you do things like row-level security with a contact or an account, where you'll see the initiator is blank and the vendor is blank. So what we're going to show you next is how we fill in that data with everything showing that column to our users. To do that, we're going to have to get a little more advanced. So let's go back to the designer again and show how we get here.
So again, we were able to make the record, but I can't see it because it didn't log me as the initiator, and we said contact level access only. Okay, all right, I'm with you.
So if we hit the three dots right there, we can go back to Power Page Management. Okay, this is designer now. Now we're back into Power Page Management. You already had this tab open, so you could go directly to it. Now what we're trying to mess with right now is your form. So let's go over to our form now, and we'll see in their form, there we go, we have our one form that we care about at least, other ones that got the sample data. So let's select that Power Page Proposal form.
And now it's in here because we're using it in the Power Page, so it logged that for us. Got it.
So the first option that I want to bring your attention to, you'll see that where first of all you can have certain tabs open, that you're only showing this one tab of data in your model-driven app. We're doing insert. All the stuff you saw before is here. However, now we get a lot more options. So let's go back to form options for option first. So there's our CAPTCHA stuff again. There's some validation data you can do. And as you scroll down, you'll see instructions. You can actually put instructions on this form to where the user knows how to react. The one I want to go to right now specifically, though, is the additional settings option.
Good. We're going to do the easy one first.
We'll do the easy one first, yes.
I like it.
Additional settings allows you to go through.
Nothing here.
Nothing here, but if you scroll down a wee bit, there we go. You will see. Now, a few things to note here. This application can get a little squirrely with things like Safari. So it's best to use a Chromium app like an Edge or a Chrome type of browser for this. Some of these drop-down boxes will not populate properly in some of those other browsers. So we see here as we scroll down, associate current portal user on insert. If he were to go ahead and hit the drop-down box there, There should be a drop-down box. And we can see the initiator. If he selects that initiator, and then above that is an option right above it for do you want to do this or not. That's weird.
You got to do a 2-clicker.
Yeah, 2-clicker there. That's different than usual.
Yeah.
All right, so now we can see whenever the user hits save, because that is toggled on, it is going to stamp their contact ID into the initiator column in that table. So now we can identify that this has been created by Matt. Now, Matt, would you please hit save up top? But let's not save and close yet.
All right.
Now, there's a few of the things that we can do here. If we go over to basic form metadata, there's one more piece. We want to stamp Matt's company in here as well, if it exists. So if he hits the new basic form metadata, we're going to go ahead and stamp Matt's company into that vendor column. So we'll change the type there to attribute. Now this screen right here will enable you to override anything, Matt, you want to.
Beautiful.
So change any label, change a checkbox to a drop-down box, whatever you want to do can be largely done inside of here. We cover a lot of this in our full class that you'll find in our on-demand platform. Oh, by the way, speaking of our on-demand platform, Matt, you have this class. I've read in this class on this one here in particular here that goes much deeper for like about 6 hours on Power Pages. We also have the free version of this, which is the one that you did, I believe. What class is that?
Power Pages in a Day. So the labs that we do with that course has been pre-recorded for you and is out there as well. But also, if you want to take just a regular full live in a day, I would love to have you in that class too.
Yeah. So you might be seeing the Power Page in a Day pop up, asking you if you want to go to that class. You can find it recorded or live as well, but you can find it recorded on our on-demand platform. Somebody's putting that in the chat window right now, but if you look in the description of this video, you're going to find a special discount code for our on-demand platform. It's going to give you a awesome discount for the next little bit here. We're also going to make it where the class that I wrote, the Power Page class I wrote, is going to be free for the next 24 hours also to give you some time, next little bit here to give you some time to experiment with the platform. All right, with that now said, Matt, let's go back and fix this attribute. The attribute we're going to fix is the vendor attribute. So you'll see vendor in the drop-down box here.
So we're going to go on down. This time it's going to be down at the bottom. Does that say vendor, Brian?
I think it does.
Okay, beautiful. So now we're gonna fix our vendor attribute, make it easy.
Okay.
Let's get it done.
Now if you scroll down here, you're going to see a whole bunch of control styles, pre-populate. We don't want to pre-populate. We want them to see the vendor, right? We don't want to let them override that in any way. But you might want to pre-populate though with something like today's current date for a signature screen or something like that. That will actually let them see it and override it potentially. In our case, though, we want to set the value on save. So automatically set the account information there. So Matt, let's go ahead and check that set value on save. The type will be a drop-down box. We'll see current portal user who's logged in.
Because it's the current user.
Yeah, and then the drop-down, we can leave the value alone because the value be if you want to hard code a value.
Right.
What we care about is the from attribute. If you have the drop-down box there, we're looking for our company name there.
And this time I'm not going to scroll through. I'm going to start typing in.
There we go.
All right.
So as you typed in company name, it jumped right down to it. Again, if that drop-down box is giving you a fit right now, check your browser. You might want to do a hard refresh if it still gives you some fits also. It kind of rarely happens, but sometimes when it does happen, that's how you can fix it. You'll also notice more things down below that you can override things like instructions on every field. But by Matt doing that, if he hits save and close right now, you may be wondering, hey, Matt's made some changes. Does he have to hit sync? Because the user never sees this, we don't have to hit sync in this case. We just have to hit the re-preview button again. So Matt, let's try a re-preview button and see if we can fix this.
All right, so we'll come on back on over into our design studio. We're going to re-preview.
And while he's doing that, because we did the company name information, we can also do account security now. So we can see, Matt and I work at the same company. We can see each other's proposal if we change it from contact to account. All right, so let's go ahead and create let's do a new Lambo one again.
All right.
I'm feeling good about my Lambo. This one's gonna be $20.
$20 only?
Yeah, but while you're doing this, by the way, the project plan down below, you'll notice it says, I can't do this until you save it. So these file data types do not let you save until you upload, until you save. To do that, we'll show you some things in a moment here on that. Matt, let's go ahead and hit submit.
Let's hit submit. Let's see.
There we go. Oh, and there we go.
Good old Jim. You're not getting a Lambo. Jim's getting a Lambo.
Jim's getting a Lambo at
Or he's giving you the
Winery.
Lambo.
Yeah, there we go. That's right, for $20. All right, we can see that we have Coho Winery, and if Matt goes back to the other application, hits a refresh, we'll see that same record there, but this time we'll actually have all the metadata there. So when he hits refresh there, we can see there's our Jim Glenn and there's our Coho. So it's the same view you saw on the Power Page, you're now seeing here. Awesome. So you've done the hard parts now of this. There's a few more little things we want to kind of tweak a little bit here. We got our defaults done. We got some style. Let me show you one little piece here that's a little bit more adventurous on this. There's something called a multi-step form, and that's how you're going to solve that uploading your project plan piece there also. What a multi-step form gives you is the ability to kind of chop up a form into multiple steps. We're not actually going to do all that work right now, but just note that's how you would fix that file upload process. What you would do is you create, would you mind going back to the designer and show where it's at least? And then if he creates a new section at the bottom there, for example, we'll just kind of, don't do this, guys, we're just kind of poking around here. We'll create a new one column section. And then down here, you're going to see a multi-step form. This allows Matt to break that form up into multiple tabs. And we're not going to go through the whole process here. To create tabs, Matt can do that in that model-driven form he was creating. We create a tab and do that. We walk through that whole process in our class that we walk you through also. Additionally, styling. How do we make this look a little prettier? Well, we noticed before there was a styling section on the left side. In the zip file that has our solution, we also have a CSS file. I'll give you a link to CSS file also that you could upload. To upload our CSS file, you simply click on the theme that you want, the three dot next to that theme, and you'll see Manage CSS. This will allow you to go ahead and upload my CSS that will get you started. It has things like a shading of the forms and all those kind of goodies around that. But Matt can also go on the left side there and check on a new theme if he wishes. So if he doesn't like that orange theme, he can try the bright blue theme, for example, or whatever. He can pick whatever. Matt, no.
No? You don't like those colors?
No, that's not going to work. All right. That looks boring too. Oh, darn.
Let's see down here. Go red.
Oh, gosh. These are terrible.
What about this one?
Going dark theme. All right.
Dark with that nice blue. You know I love blue.
I know. All right, there we go. Well, we'll go dark. All right, fine. All right, so if Matt wants to make some changes to this theme also, on the right side, notice the save button does exist for this. So if he likes this, he can hit the save button, but he can also on the right side change things like the color palettes and add his own color palettes to this or change that light blue. Let's maybe make it a little more tealy, or let's go Jaguars.
Let's go Jags.
Oh, that's a terrible year to be a Jags fan.
That's still, it looks
That'll work.
Decent to it.
When he hits OK, anywhere that's involved will now have that color as well. Now keep in mind, we showed us earlier the header up there. We could change the text color of the header to be white if you wanted to. That's obviously not good contrast ratio right now. Somebody who's a little bit colorblind like myself won't be able to see that black on that teal very, very easily. So we can fix that, but also as he scrolls down, he can see, do you want to change the header text, the header to text? Right now it's white. Do you want to keep that? Sure, let's keep that. But all the font styles, all those things can change under site navigation there, Matt. Let's dive into that. Notice that the text is black. Let's change that.
All right, let's do it. Change that over to a nice little white here.
There we go. And he can, of course, bold it. There's his button colors. All those things are now there for him. So when he hits the save button, he'll now have that data all available to him. So you have now built a site in about 2 hours. I think about 2 hours. Let's see. I don't know. You guys did a great job, though. So we have started from end to end. We have built your data form. You built your invitations. You built your security, your forms, your list. Matt, on this side, let's open up the ODL real quick. Let's show what class that you get for free today, so they can kind of figure that out also. It's learning. No, that's fine. Yeah.
Sorry.
So you can register for a free account at pragmaticworks.com, and you'll notice the promo code in the chat window. Learning.
I spelled learn wrong.
That's all right.
Well.
I took Matt down a path he's not used to. All right, here we go. So when you sign in or create your account here at learning.pragmaticworks.com, Matt, if you go over to courses here, let's show them what they're going to get for free today as part of that. So on the left here, you can go ahead and search for Power Page. There we go. And we'll find a few classes out there. The Introduction to Power Pages is going to be free for today for you for watching this live. But also Matt has another class right below it, Power Page in a Day. So if you're watching this recorded form, that class is free forever when you register for the on-demand platform. And again, in the description of this video, you're going to find a promo code as well. All right, Matt, thanks for joining me today, and thank you for joining me. Hang in there for our Q&A section next. I'm going to answer your questions live that we've been answering live during this in the chat window, but now we're going to get audio-wise live also. Thank you so much for watching this class today, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel also to get more information like that. Matt, thanks for joining me.
Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all.